going? What is going on for the second time after my father just interrupted this beautiful interview that didn't start yet? But I got somebody on the other line. I'm gonna let her introduce herself. Who do we have here today?
Hey guys, I'm Hennessy. I'm an indie R&B singer-songwriter from Providence, Rhode Island.
How you doing today?
I'm doing really good. It's a beautiful day outside.
Well, first of all, I just want to let you know before we get into this, I am a fan of your music. I think you're a really talented person. If not, honestly, probably wouldn't have reached out if I didn't think you were talented. So I really
Thank you
like
so
your music.
much.
I think you're good, and just want to let you know that I think you're really, uh, I think you have like a star potential to you. And I was like, wow. I mean, I might as well interview her. She's good, and she's like has star potential. I feel like more people should know who you are by now. So hopefully that will change in 2021. Hopefully, because I think you have some big stuff for you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Of course. All right. So let's start with how I even found you. I found you because I was on KTT, and see you're familiar with that site. And
Yeah.
I was browsing KTT, and I seen somebody say something about you, and they said something about Hennessy, and I was like, what are you fucking drunk niggas talking about? And I went to really go investigate what the hell Hennessy was, and then I seen it was you, and it was 1-800 Slide. I think was the
Yeah.
first song I heard. I was like, this is interesting, and then I started to look through the SoundCloud. Then I started to look at the YouTube videos, and I was like, she has something here. So I don't know how confident you are in yourself, but you should be very, very confident because you got something behind you.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm a really reserved person, so now that I'm pushing my music and like putting my face out there, it's building my confidence and I can hear it in my music now as well.
Your tone of voice is shocking me because I've seen your videos. I thought you were gonna be like, oh, like wild and like lively and stuff, but you have this such like just like adorable, just like kind of just like laid back, chill demeanor. Is this something like that's kind of like interfering with the image or anything? Because I know like you're supposed to be like, I'm wild and lively, and like sometimes being reserved doesn't resonate with people.
Yeah, I mean, if people follow me on social media, I think they can kind of tell like how my persona is. Like, I'm kind of boring. Like, I just read books, watch documentaries. Like, I'm into like fashion, into my community. But I feel like my image, because of how I dress, people assume I'm like loud and just like, and yeah. But
Yeah, that definitely shocked me. Are you? Would you say you're good at doing these like type of interviews,
um, I'm
or do you,
getting better.
or do you
I'm
not
getting,
like them?
um, yeah, it's kind of awkward at first, but I like talking to people regardless. Like, I'm that person that I don't like parties, but I like get-togethers because I can like have conversations with people. It feels more intimate. So regardless, I like talking, but just being in front of a camera is kind of awkward.
I feel you. I feel like what kind of helps me because I'm a pretty shy, kind of reserved person. But when I'm on camera, I feel like something in the back of my head is like, hey, you gotta kind of, do what the people want to see almost at a point, but
Yeah.
not kind of lose yourself. Because I've seen people get in front of cameras and become totally different people. Then the camera's off. Like, how's that? I'm like, nigga, what the hell would you just do right there? Like, that's not who you are. So I
Yeah.
feel like in the back of my head, something turns on. Like, yo, you need to kind of be Eric on like a little bit of steroid juice. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
yeah, is that
Very
something
true.
that you think about a little bit?
Yeah. Try to, honestly, but it's kind of hard, like, not being awkward sometimes because I'm so, I'm so used to, like, oh, so used to being to myself and with my friends, and now it's like I'm getting so much attention with my music. It's like I'm learning
You're
how
kind of
to.
covering the mic a little bit with your, I guess, your finger.
Is it good?
There you go.
Okay. Yeah. So like now it's just like it's happening so fast. I didn't know it was gonna happen this fast. Like all the attention I'm getting with like my video, my music. So I'm adapting. Um, it's kind of it's lesson to me. I'm growing.
Well, before we kind of get into your music, I would love to kind of get to know like you as a person to see like what's I guess behind the person that makes the music. And you say that you're kind of boring. You like to watch documentaries and
Yeah.
read books. Like what books are you reading if you're reading any right now?
So I'm reading this book. I have it actually on my bed right now. My face is all in the camera.
Okay.
Um, it's community development in America. it's so good. So basically, it's just talking about the things we need to do to like better our community and how we can invest in each other. And that's kind of one thing that like I'm really like that's really important to me. My community, like I live on the south side of Providence. It's the inner city, and it's predominantly like diverse. Once you leave like 10 minutes out of it, it goes into like a white community and just a bunch of racist people in Rhode Island. So my community means a lot to me.
Well, kind of like doing a little research on Providence and Rhode Island. It's funny because I was doing it because of this interview. I didn't even know it was like a nigga section of Rhode Island. I thought it was just white people and you had black people
Yeah,
here and there. I didn't even know y'all. I didn't know it was y'all out there. I didn't even know it was some of
no,
us out there.
yeah. It's so Providence is the inner city. It's where also known as the creative capital. And we have like a bunch of minorities. Like it ranges from like African, Nigerian, Liberian, Dominican, Puerto Rican, Cape Verdean. So Cape Verdean is really prominent in our community in Pawtucket. Um, Asian, like on the West End. So it's really diverse. But literally, like Rhode Island is so small, so you can drive 5 minutes and it'll be a predominantly white community. So we take kind of pride in Providence. Like it's very family oriented, especially like in the creative aspect. Like we support each other because it's so talented. Like nobody really like pays attention to Rhode Island because like, oh, like hell's in Rhode Island? It's a small ass state and it sounds white. So no one really kind of dives into like the creative scene, but like the music scene is amazing. The fashion scene is amazing. The food in Providence is awesome. So yeah, I really love my city. It's so fire. Like every time I go out of state, I talk so highly about it. I'm like, you guys have to like visit it, and we have like the most beautiful women in Providence.
I didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
I'm just a closed-minded Florida Negro. I had no idea any of this was going on up there. And
Where are you from?
I'm from Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, okay.
You ever heard of that?
Yeah, I heard of it. I never been to Florida though.
Never been to Florida. Okay, so what do you think of Florida? Because I feel like a lot of Northerners only think of like Miami and like Florida man. Is that what you think about?
Yeah. My grandfather, before he passed away, he lived in Orlando, and it seemed kind of empty to me. And like Miami is kind of like the turn up state that I know of, so I don't really know much about Florida except for like Kodak from there and stuff like that. But no, my brother says it's a really fire state to visit. He's been trying to make me go out there.
It's cool. You teach me about Rhode Island. I teach you about Florida because I feel like Florida gets a bad rep. I feel like Rhode Island. I don't know if you guys have a rep, and I feel like
Quahog. Everyone talks about Family Guy.
oh, that is Rhode. That's why I think so many white people out there. That's why I think of just like I think it's just like what's his name? Like Cleveland is out there or something. That's it. And just like that's the only nigga in Quahog is just Cleveland.
Yo, no bullshit. Somebody said on Twitter, I forgot what it was. I don't know how Rhode Island was like trending, but somebody was like, the only black people you have in Rhode Island is Cleveland, and I was dying. I'm like, yo, people, other people really think it's just like white out here, but I mean, it kind of is outside of like the inner city. But
So that book that you were just talking about, and what is it called? Development in the what is it called?
Community Development America.
Community Development in America. So like, have you took any specific narratives or specific like topics or type of just like ideas that you want to like apply to your city, or you think that would apply to your city?
Yeah, so like I used to curate events, and I curated an event for my birthday last year. Basically, it was an art event. I had people perform, vendors sell their like clothes, cosmetics, even like tea. And I used all the funds we made, and I donated to the Southside Boys and Girls Club for them to create a program to teach them about economics. So it was really cool, and they were really appreciative. So just basically putting back into your community, because honestly, like the people in the state house in Rhode Island, they're not from Providence. They all live 30 minutes away, and they're nice community. It's predominantly white, like I said. So they don't really care about what's going on in the inner cities. So with community development, like we have to be the ones in our community to help back and like put the money in and buy from like our local corner stores, buy from each other to like keep the money, circling in the community, especially in the black and brown community.
So what you're saying, it sounds like kind of like Jacksonville in the sense of, am I right in saying that it's kind of segregated there, like the way that it's populated?
Um, I wouldn't say segregated because maybe because I'm so used to being in Providence, but I know segregated. That's just kind of a very broad term, so I don't really want to agree with it. But I know once you leave Providence, it's all white.
Mm.
Like it's all white, and a lot of people deal with racism once they leave, the inner city. But I mean, there's a couple of white people in Providence because we have like Brown University is one of our like predominantly like Ivy League schools, PC. So there's white people in Providence, but majority is more like minorities.
Because the way that you explained it made me think about Jacksonville because like the north side is like the black side of town down here, and you can go to school all your life on the north side, and maybe go to school like 15 tops white people, like your whole entire
Yeah.
life, and just like avoid white
Oh,
people.
yeah. So URI, University of Rhode Island. It's in like North Kingstown. It's 40-minute drive, and literally like my first day, I had Africana Studies, and my professor he took his marker, his black marker, and he put a dot on the whiteboard. He was like, because the whole class was basically black and brown students, and he was like, once you leave this program, this is gonna be you. Like the black dot, everyone's white, and that's how it really was on at URI because it's a predominantly white institution. So it was kind of scary, especially like the stuff that my friends dealt with. Like I remember my friend said he was walking by with his female friend and this white girl, and she like looked to her white friend and was like, "Oh, like he's gonna rape me," just because he was black. My friends talk about how like they're on the elevator and they'll close the elevator like really fast, and like Yik Yak was like a popular app back then on college campuses, and they used to just talk so much shit about like the minority community. So we deal with a lot of racism in Rhode Island, but the inner city, like we're such a family that we kind of don't give a fuck about it because it's like we have each other and we support each other. So I don't really care what these white people have to say because they don't really bother me
It's
what
so
they have to say.
it's so crazy because like the high school I graduated from, it's like a lot of black people there, but it's like placed in the redneck part of town. So that was
Mm-hmm.
my first time kind of just dealing with the rednecks like face to face, and I mean, boy, they are bold people. I gotta respect them for being so bold. I've never met a group of people that are so bold to just show their hate. I'm like, you know what, sir, you might not like me,
Yeah.
but I gotta respect that. I remember this one time, this boy, he was in class, he would listen to this song on a computer. And he was like, hey, what is he listening to? They went to go listen, and he was listening to a song called "They Ought to Send Them All Back to Africa." And I mean, he Kodak bopping to this song. Ooh, they all send them all back to Africa. Like he hitting a bankhead bounce. He's going insane. And we like, yo, is this really like real life right now? So yeah, bold group of humans, crazy, crazy stuff experienced in high school.
Yeah, I was telling my friends, I'm like, yo, ever since Trump became president, like a lot of white people, they've been kind of bold, like with the racism, like the stuff they just saying to us. It wasn't like this before.
Nah, it's
At
just
least they hit it. They hit it. They hit it a little bit, but now it's just like hard, hard N word.
not definitely a lot of hard N words. It's like I don't know. It's a terrible comparison I'm gonna make right here, but I think it's like a how can I say, it's like a slut walk type of thing where it's like, hey, the slut walk, I can dress freely. I'm not going to feel like I'm going to be judged for dressing like this. Nobody's going to look at me a certain way. And that's how Trump is for them. It's like, yo, I don't have to hide these thoughts. I could just my boobies could be popping out. My booty, like they're just like all out and free because it's like, who's going to do anything to me? And I
Yeah.
don't know why they have that thought, but hey, it's very interesting. And I feel like as you grow as an artist, it's going to happen. you're gonna get to the point where your fans are gonna become like white people like that. Like they don't really care about what you think. They're just like, hey, we like the music. So I don't know if you're already there yet, but
Yeah.
it's a very odd, interesting place. Have you had those type of interaction with fans where you're like, hey, I don't know if this fan is on my side.
Yeah. I have a fan that listens to my music. They'll be white, but they'll say the N word, and I'm like, that's not kind of what I like stand for. Like, I don't even say the N word in my music. I don't. That's not even in my vocabulary. So why would I want someone that stand me to be saying it?
It's crazy, and it's one of those things where, have you had that conversation with my person before, like
Yeah,
face
of
to face?
course. Yeah, yeah,
Have
definitely
they
all the
hit you?
time.
Have
I'm
they
that person.
really?
Yeah,
Ha,
I'm that person.
what's the most like what's the like what's the worst it's got? Like not the one that was like okay I understand you, but the one that was actually trying to like kind of go tit for tat with you. Have you ever had that type of conversation?
Someone said, "Why can't we say the N word if we created it?"
Mm.
And I was just like, "Wow, that's insane! Like, the background behind it and why you created it, so why would you want to say it?"
White people
like,
is so funny.
like you just answered your own question. Like I was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." But it's like, bro, like you just answered your own question. The connotation to it.
Did you respond that or did you respond something different to that?
Yeah, I mean, me like I'm not an aggressive person when
Yeah.
I talk, so it's more of like informative. Like I'm just trying like to educate you. Say something ignorant to me, like me, I have a very poker face, so I'll be confused as hell. But like I'll explain to you, like no, like that's not cool. Like educate you on your own like your history about it. Like you just said that you created the word, so you know where it came from. So why would you want to say it?
It's crazy, and I think it's interesting that you said it's not in your vocabulary. Is that
Yeah.
like a conscious thing, or is it something that you never said, or?
As I got older, I kind of educated myself on the word. And I decided not to say it because I didn't want to offend anybody.
Mm.
Even in the environment that I grew up on, like I grew up in the hood, I grew up in the South Side, and I would never use that as an excuse to be like, oh, I grew up in poverty, so I can say the word.
Yeah.
It's just not something I like to say. I feel like as we get older, we have the resources, the books, the internet to educate ourselves. So I just don't want that word in my vocabulary at all.
Gosh, you're such a great human. I wish I could be as great as a human as you. I've tried to stop saying that word so many times, it just fails. It's like I've had that same thought, that same cognitive process that you've had. I'm like, you know what? My ancestors was getting like beat with like whips, and they was calling them nigga boy and all type of crazy stuff. Probably shouldn't be saying this. And then Kodak comes on, and I'm like, in the club, bop with my niggas. I'm like, oh man, I'm back to bop with my niggas again. So, definitely a thing I need to peel back on. Was that an instant thing that you did, or did it take some time for you to take it out of your vocabulary?
I mean, it was kind of instant. It was just like being in an Africana studies class as well in college. Like, I'm around people who deal with oppression that's different than mine, and like the way they're passionate about it is like my friends were never offended by me saying the N word, but it came to the conclusion that it's like, yo, like before I offend one person, I'd rather not say it at all. Like, I don't care if like millions of people are like, yeah, like she can say the N word, but if one person's like, nah, like bro, she can't say it, I'd rather it be like that because I don't want to offend anybody.
You know what I think you should do? I think this will like bring more eyes and more ears to your music. I think it'd be interesting if you did either like a YouTube series or a podcast where if you knew somebody where you disagreed with like a lot of their like opinions or like points or whatnot, and you like had a set of views, they had a set of views. I think you would clash like great with somebody because I feel like you're a very articulate person. You know how to get across the point without being offensive or without being aggressive, and I feel like people might enjoy that. I think that's something you should think about. I don't know if you ever thought about it before, but I would
Yeah,
watch that.
I was on a podcast called Dear White, like they named it Dear White People, the one that I was on, and basically we were just talking about it, like even minorities using the N word and why I think minorities shouldn't use the N word because we all share different oppression, and it was kind of like a debate, so it was really an informative podcast as well. But yeah, I like talking about it, like I like educating people on it. I like learning too, like I love having conversations about it because I'm someone that I'd rather learn than like speak. Like I'm someone that likes to like observe the room and like just soak up as much information as I can.
Is that something that you see like your music going into, like a more kind of like conscious, kind of like more heady and like like these type of topics that we're talking about? Can you see your music like going like into that for like a concept album?
Yeah, I definitely can see my music going in that era. Like, I feel like right now I just been kind of in my feelings and
Yeah.
like in my emotions a lot. So that's kind of the music I've been like writing. I can't write something that I'm not feeling at the moment. So like days I don't feel anything, I don't go to the studio, or like if I'm not going through anything, like I won't write music. But that's definitely something I would want to do, like just to talk about it and educate people, because I feel like a lot of younger kids listen to my music as well. So that's something I would love to do.
No, I think you should because, like I said, I feel like you have like this thing about you where I feel like you have a lot of potential to be like a very huge star, and I feel like those topics kind of get they don't really get talked about as often as by these
Yeah,
huge
they don't.
stars.
They
They
don't.
get talked about because I actually wrote something down. You said maybe I'm tripping. I think you said this. It'd be really funny if I quote you and you're like, nigga, I ain't said that. Well,
This you?
let me make sure you said this. I think I got it linked. Let me see. It's loading on Twitter. Coming up. You did. You said, "Why aren't people talking about in SARS? Why aren't people mad?" Right? Remember that? Remember tweeting that?
Yes.
So I kind of want to
Yes.
touch and answer that question, if you don't mind. Uh,
Yeah, I would love to talk about it as well.
so I have a lot of African friends. I'm really close with them. Like I make like terrible African jokes, and I'm like they make a terrible American joke. So we're just like really close
Yeah.
friends. So when this happened, they like kind of enlightened me on what was going on. So I kind of understand what's going on over there and why I think people are mad. Two big reasons. One, this isn't an American issue. People really don't even care about American issues like that. So I'm pretty sure they wouldn't care about an African issue. And then two, people just don't care about anything really.
Yeah.
I came to the point that people really don't even care about black people, even a lot of black people, because I feel like it takes somebody getting their neck kneed on for 8 minutes for people to be outraged because it was like a point in time where like Mike Brown got killed and it was like Black Lives Matter, and it was like all right, we kind of forgot about it. Then like 3 year period went by and now it's like back again. It's like during those 3 years where it's not people
Yeah,
getting
and
killed by
it
black
shouldn't be a
people,
trend. It shouldn't.
it's a trend.
Yeah, it's not a hashtag, and that's why I was kind of upset. It's like all Black lives matter, not just like American Black lives. Like, are Nigerians not black? Like, why aren't people upset about it? Like, it's literally a genocide happening right now. It's like Nigerians killing Nigerians in Nigeria, and what makes it more sad is they're killing their own people. So you should be more outraged about it. And I'm someone I have to limit myself on social media because like I get too emotional. I get so sad. Like there was like this tweet of one of the kids that died, and he was like, Nigeria won't end
I
me.
seen that, yeah.
And then, yeah, then like hours later a video circulated of him like bleeding to death, and then like his girlfriend tweeted she had to see her boyfriend die because of a video circulating on the internet. Like it's so sad what's going on. And I feel like as Americans, we don't really kind of, well, not me, I won't say we, but people don't really care about what's going on in other countries because it's not happening in America. But it's like, bro, like, what can we do to help? Like CNN, they were saying it was clashes between protesters and, police. Like, no, like, that's like our job now. Like, Twitter is so important because, like, journalism is all whitewashed. Like, they're going to say what the hell they want to say. So I feel like it's our job to correct them. Like, no, CNN, it's not clashes. Like, so tweet about it to let everyone know it's a genocide happening. And that's what's so good about like now our generation is like we have social media. Like, if there was no images, no videos going available for us to see what's going on, we probably wouldn't even know what's happening or wouldn't care. So the fact that we have all these resources and these images, like we can show people like, no, this is literally a genocide happening, not clashes like all these white journalists are saying.
The way that I look at it, like it's funny because a lot of people did the opposite. But when this the whole George Floyd thing happened and like it kind of just like set off like a new precedent, as
Yeah.
time went on, I'm not opportunistic. I'm super optimistic about things getting better, just in general, not just about this, but
Yeah,
just
yeah,
in
yeah.
general. And high key, I've just lost all hope because I feel like people
Oh,
just.
don't lose hope.
Well, listen, this is why. When you realize, this is going to sound super bad. And you're such a nice person. You're probably not going to agree with this, but I think it's a fact that most people on Earth are not smart. Can we agree
Yeah,
with
no,
that?
that's true. Yeah.
So
But I kind of look at it as like what makes people not smart. Is it they're like the community they grew up in, like the education system?
well,
So that's one.
you can do that, but
Yeah.
at the root, they're just idiots. Like I've talked to
Yeah.
just many idiots, no matter the race, the color, whatever. So I
Yeah.
feel like I've lost hope in people because people do what they see is being done. People don't critically
Mm.
think. Critically
Yeah.
thinking is for people who actually have mind for themselves and they're actually smart. And I've seen like the way that people just piggyback off of things and it's just like, yo, what about when this was happening? Did you not care then? You only care when it was
Yeah.
like the number one trending thing on Twitter. The perfect thing I think about is when Trump had put the ban on the Muslims. I don't know if you remember that. Like a couple
Hmm.
years ago, and they couldn't come to the country and
Yeah.
people were upset. I'm like, okay, I get why you're upset, but it was like a period where Obama was going crazy in Yemen, just dropping bombs and dropping bombs on
Hmm.
people in Yemen. I was watching this documentary. People in Yemen hate Obama. They look at him the same way we look at Trump because his little kids like he killed my mom in like a hospital. She didn't do anything.
Hmm.
It's just so many just like atrocities out there. And it's like, yo, if we really care about Muslim people, in 2016 when they were getting killed, or not 2016, like 2014, 2013 when they were getting killed, wouldn't we have been like protesting and doing that? It was like people just don't care because it wasn't on the news. Like people aren't
Yeah.
told to care, and that's why I've lost hope because until somebody tells them to care, uh, that happens, and then I just don't feel people are what's the word? People don't have any militancy, or people don't have any like the Black
Empathy.
Panthers
Yeah.
couldn't happen today because the Black Panthers were they were what's the word? I can't think. My mind is going crazy right now. But they were militant and they all followed by a set of rules. I feel like this generation they can't live their life by any type of rules or standards because it's like, yo, it's like let's say somebody believe in God. It's much easier to not be spiritual or believe in God because you don't have to think about that. I could just go do whatever the heck I want. It's easy to not eat healthy rather eating healthy. It's like, yeah, I could just go pop some pills and eat some chicken rather than
Yeah.
actually taking care of my body. And people don't have that discipline. That's the word I was looking for. I feel
Yeah.
like this generation is the least disciplined because Black Panthers need discipline. This generation doesn't have that. I've been talking for a very long time. I apologize. I'll let you talk.
No, it's okay. I like hearing you talk. It was really informative. But I agree. But I feel like our generation, we're more vocal now, though. That's one thing. We're very vocal, and we kind of want change. A lot of people say, like that was me for a while. I'm like, yo, protesting is not gonna work. It wasn't until the George Floyd situation where I'm like, yeah, protesting is going to work because do if they don't see the wrong that they're doing, burn shit down. Period. Like fuck up the police stations, like make these people know what they did was wrong. And that was like the quickest arrest in they had in a while, or maybe ever. I don't want to like quote it wrong,
Yeah.
but that was literally the quickest arrest they had when it was with the officer that killed George Floyd. And I really think it had to do with all like the looting, the burning shit down. So there's different approaches that we have to take. We've been doing like the peaceful approach for so long. We've been like, oh, like yeah, like stop killing us, etc. But like, nah, sometimes we have to get aggressive.
No, I agree. I feel like it's weird when I see people more outraged about like the looting and the rioting than they are like the actual killings. It's like,
Yeah,
all
it's
right,
like,
out
why
there
are you
rioting.
mad about that? Like, it's not.
It's
Yeah,
like
it's a corporation. They're gonna get it back. They got insurance.
it's like on a very isolated incident if there were just random riots. I get why you're upset, but it's like it's connected to like deaths. It's like you seem more outraged by the riots than you are the actual like people dying. And that's just
Yeah,
it's a very interesting train of thought for somebody to have to me.
yeah, I agree. That was kind of weird. Everyone's so mad about it. And I'm like, why aren't you that mad that someone literally lost their life on camera?
Like I said, it's that's because like those people that grew up that way, and that's the way it's like, yo, I gotta be pro police, and it's so interesting because a lot of those people are very Christian, and I'm thinking like, wow, I'm like, like if you read the Bible, I'm pretty sure Jesus got like killed by some like police, if I'm not mistaken. Like
Yeah,
he was get killed by law enforcement, so it's like you're so Christian, would you been back in the day like, yeah, kill Jesus? It's like just kind of it's very interesting how a lot of white Christians are very hypocritical and not empathetic to black people because it was like, hey,
yeah,
the person you pray is probably my color, And it's interesting that you don't have any empathy for somebody that, looks like the person you praise and kind of going through the same stuff. He was tortured, beat, killed the same way that we're getting. So it's like, why aren't you feeling empathy towards towards the people that kind of look like the person you praise? I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point. But yeah.
It was like even I think it was last week, a young man, he was riding a moped, and a police officer, like they were chasing him down the street, and they crashed, or they forcefully like crashed their car into his moped, and his head hit the concrete
Mm.
wall. So now he's in a coma.
Wow.
And there was a protest that happened a couple of days ago in Providence for him, and they put a GoFundMe up for him, and it's just kind of sad because even the person I was recording, like the police officer, went up to him and was like, "You need to push back." And then he's like, "You literally like ran your car into him." He's like, "We didn't run our car." He's like, "We have the video like on camera. Like you literally ran your car into his moped, and his head went flying to the concrete. And now this young 24-year-old is in a coma, and it's so sad. It's like there's no remorse when it comes to like police officers. Like they don't care. Like he was basically like, nope. And even at the protest, they like beat a kid, and he had a seizure, and he's in the hospital now too. So it's just sad. It's just so sad, man.
It's crazy. I just thank God all the time that I'm okay. Cause like the hitting the head in the concrete, that kind of reminds me, cause I got knocked out by a cop one time, and it could have went really bad, but glad that I'm here today. And I feel like you really don't understand, like even if you're like for the Black Lives Matter movement, I don't even feel like you understand how it feels or what it is to get like beat up by a cop until it actually happens. It really changes your perspective on everything, because you might be a person to be like, like all cops are bad or whatever, but then when that happens and then you see nothing happens to that
Yeah.
cop, you're like, yo, like what's going on? So me getting knocked out by a cop, that changed my perspective on just, I guess, my local law enforcement and how I just really view that. So it's definitely a changer. Have you ever went through anything that's similar?
No, maybe I'm racially profiled in a car, but I've never been like touched physically by a cop. So I feel like even I don't have to be physically hurt by a cop to understand like
Yeah.
the shit they do to people is not, right.
I guess it's just a little stuff like if somebody comes and like touches you that you don't know, even if it's
Hmm.
police, your first
Yeah.
reaction isn't just to be like, oh hey, what's going on, police? It's like, yo, why are you
Yeah,
touching me for no
exactly.
reason?
Yeah.
Like I never thought about that because I just never been in that predicament. But it's like, yo, you got somebody trying to like hem you up, and you're like, yo, I don't even know who this person is, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just the little stuff that makes you think like, wow, like this is. So when you see somebody react on camera a certain way, you're like, he probably did that because some random dude he don't know trying to like hug him, touch him, or you're like, I don't know who you are. So it's pretty crazy stuff. I don't. I feel bad that we got into this heavy conversation. So we're talking about like your such positive music, and now we're talking about people getting
And then we're
shot,
talking.
and
I know.
it's crazy. So wait. So 1-800-SLIDE.
Yeah.
1-800-SLIDE. Really good song. But no,
Thank
I
you.
feel like it's good that you're making music like that, because even though you say like it's in your feelings, I feel like the music actually sounds good. So with all the craziness with the virus and the shootings and whatever's going on, I feel like your music kind of brings a little bit of peace to the person that listens to it. It gives peace to the world, I think.
Thank you so much. When I released 1-800-SLIDE, we were literally supposed to like shoot a video for it, but then like COVID hit,
Mm.
so it's like we had to put a pause on it.
Have you traveled anywhere since like COVID, like outside of like where you're at?
Yeah, I went to New York and Cali for music.
How is that? I'm probably going to New York next week. So like, is it like I don't know. I'm very just like weary of like traveling right now. Like I'm pretty sure you probably didn't have to go on a plane to go there, or did you?
For no, we drove to New York,
But
but
Cali
I
went on a
did.
plane.
Yeah, I went on a plane.
How was that?
So it was me. I have Crohn's disease, so it's like a chronic illness. So I
Mm.
have to be more like um put in more effort to being more clean and and aware of my surroundings. So I was just very cautious of like hand sanitizing, having my mask on. But other than that, the plane I was on, they didn't let nobody sit in the middle, so it was spacious between that. and I didn't really go out like to functions and stuff like that, so I wasn't being like messy and shit. And when I went to New York, it was just to go to the studio, and it was good. Everyone had masks on. I think in New York it's like a law you have to have a mask on, which is a good law at the moment.
But yeah, this is my first time going to New York, so I feel like it's an
Oh
interesting
really?
time. Yeah, I
That's
talk.
fire. Which part are you going to?
Be in Manhattan, so be with the white people.
Mm.
Be with the white people. Be with the good old white people out there. But yeah, it should be interesting. I always say very crazy stuff about New York, so I finally get to experience to see is it really is like crazy and like bad as I think. So
Oh, I'm so
we'll
happy
see.
for you. I wish it wasn't during COVID, your first experience.
Yeah, it's kind of like an in and out situation. Like I'm kind of going to like a meeting, and then I'll probably like be flying back to Jacksonville. So
Okay. No, you'll love it. I love New York, especially Brooklyn. Brooklyn is so welcoming.
well, I think I'm by
It's really
Brooklyn.
cool.
Isn't Manhattan by Brooklyn or?
Yeah, yeah, kind of.
So yeah, I think I'll be in that vicinity. I might go get some food out there. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't want to keep it for too long. I feel like we've been doing this interview for like 30 hours. It feels like I don't want to keep it for too long. So oh, before I go, I do want to ask this: any documentaries that you're watching that you want to recommend to the people?
I'm rewatching Poverty Inc.
Hmm.
It's a really good documentary. It's basically about like us oversaturating foreign countries with aid, and they speak about like Toms, like I don't know if you remember like back then. I know when I was like
The
in middle
shoes?
school. Yeah, so like when you buy one, you get one, they donate it, or you buy one, then they donate up here to Africa. Basically, they were saying that guy like he kind of like fucked up their whole community because the people who were like making shoes and using that as like income for their families, he kind of oversaturated. Like, he was giving everybody free shoes, so like there was no need for people to like sell
Hmm.
shoes in the community. So it's a very informative documentary.
Yeah, you seem like just a book of knowledge. Like I just open up your mind. It's like a chapter of like why black people are in a bad state or something. Like you're a very smart person. So I really hope that people get to hear this interview. I really hope people get to hear your music, and I really hope that people get to hear just like the way you think. Because like I said, I feel like you have a mind that if you do blow up, or when you blow up, not if, but speaking of existence, when you
Yeah.
blow up, I feel like it'll be beneficial to the people that encounter you. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you coming through. For the people watching, uh, until next time, I say what I mean what I say. Haters gonna hate, players gonna play, and you guys holla at your boy.